So you've been hit, whiffed a move, or tricked by your enemy. Now what? You could get comboed and finished, or you could recover and punish. This is the essence of a disadvantaged state, and sometimes your opponent will read your movement or get lucky and you won't be able to escape their lead on you. But let's see what we can do to minimize the chances of that. Keep in mind that disadvantaged state, you have less room on the stage as you're pushed off to the edge or just cut off from one side as they cover the middle. And you have less options, less time, and more risks to be taken. First thing you should do in disadvantaged state is figure out all the options you have to mix up and get out of it. As soon as there's no choice to being launched or not, you should focus on what your next move is. The first thing that you can do when getting hit is use DI. When you're hit horizontally, like so, you can hold down to reduce knockback or increase the knockback, as shown in previous videos. But if you decrease the knockback, you can try to go further into the fight, but be careful because decreasing the knockback can put you into a combo since you're closer to them. But if you're going off an edge, it might be better to get closer. And you can also increase the knockback if you want to get away from them and try a projectile or something else to go after them. If you're hit upwards, however, you can DI left or right, and you can't decrease the knockback. So I could DI right, and I get launched right, or go left. If the stage is left, I probably want DI left, but sometimes it just depends on how your moves play out, and if you want a different angle. You can also, when hit, either crash to avoid being immediately hit, or if my health wasn't so high, I could get hit and tech, which could allow me to attack immediately, but if you tech, you might get immediately hit. But it's most likely the best option, since crashing will give them an opportunity to jab you and continue a combo. So if you're far away, it might be better to crash, because then you can do some roll options and get up attacks to counter their movements. Off stage, you have a lot of options. Once hit far off stage, you want to conserve your double jumps. Don't double jump immediately if you can. If you have moves that can get you closer to stage, use them. But otherwise, if you're really far out, use an air dodge, but be careful because that leaves you very vulnerable. You can also do several moves on the ledge or below the ledge using your character's moves, or just double jumps that you've saved from getting launched. So you can double jump and attack, or generally look at attacking your opponent after you get launched, because they are going to be coming right after you, and if you do nothing, it's pretty likely that you'll get hit off too. Make sure that when you get onto the ledge that you use all options that you have. Roll if they're trying to attack you at the ledge, because that'll get you past them, and jump if you think that you can do some mix-ups attacking above them. Just do a normal get up attack if they're just being not very smart at the ledge, but they can spot dodge it and punish you for that. So just generally keep in mind all moves that you do. You could jump off and get back on, or do any sort of attacks, but your goal is to get back on stage and punish them if they're trying to attack you, but avoid any unpredictable movements in the air, sway side to side, or do any moves that they might not expect. If you're doing a move that you've used a lot repeatedly, make sure you try mixing things up and not doing things that are repetitive or predictable. Generally, there are moments in a fight where you will be at a worse position than the other person and will be forced to stay in that position. For example, here I am near the edge of the stage and Samus has projectiles and stuff to keep me there. So they will use rockets and their charge shot. If I try to jump over them, if I try to approach them, they may grab me. So I need to be careful to use abilities that would make it hard for them to approach me, or predict their movements and either jab or dash shield, but they might grab me then, so you need to react to what they do. If they start a grab, spot dodge. If they try to shoot you, perfect shield it or just normal shield it, and try to keep yourself unpredictable by either running around or dashing back and forth. Grab them, do whatever it takes to keep them away from you, or try to get past them. If they attack you while in shield, you could roll behind them and push them right back, so now you're the one in the lead and they aren't. Or maybe they approach you, but you know just the right distance to use your own abilities to get past them. So if they run to here, you can teleport just before so they can't hit you while you're initiating it or exiting whatever ability you use. Just note that there are frames when it's unfavorable. Some abilities that are really helpful getting out of a situation like this is projectiles that track or attack better when they get closer, like Palutena's auto reticle, since if they approach closer it'll shoot downwards and hit them. So if they stay away they can probably just shield it, but if they're approaching they'll likely get hit. Above stage you are also in a great amount of danger, especially if you're a character that doesn't have much downward movement abilities that aren't predictable, like Min Min or Little Mac. Once you're above stage, you need to find ways to attack below you that aren't fully predictable. Try fast falling and going into aerials, or doing an aerial and then fast falling. But generally, once you get launched upwards, try to sway around. Don't use your double jump immediately like right then, and instead conserve it, sway around, double jump and attack downwards, or use an ability that would be unpredictable, especially after double jumping. If you have a teleport ability, you can fall a while, double jump and immediately teleport downwards if you had one. But be very careful to not put yourself in a scenario where you're in an extremely predictable move, like a counter or using your recovery up B, such as Joker using their flight here. They're in free fall and can only sway. They're practically guaranteed to be hit by this Roy. Or if they do a counter, they can just be hit immediately after canceling out the counter. Note that there is so many ways to go into disadvantage state out of neutral game, or just be in a neutral game that generally has a slight disadvantage to you. Sometimes these disadvantages can be small things that add up together to put you in a worse state, such as your shield being really low, and thus you don't have that option to shield when they make an attack or they'll break it. Or just you've held your shield for too long and they'll hit you from your lower angles. You also might have smaller things, like Terry having the go moves would put Joker here in disadvantage, or Joker having his arson would put me in disadvantage. But it's important to know all the aspects of each character that would put someone in disadvantage. Like Joker here, once they go in arson, they may be at the advantage, but if you hit them, that will reduce their arson and you'll have an easier time of getting out of it. And for Terry, you should just know those moves are there. For his go moves, his dash attack can be shielded, and his geyser generally can be air dodged out of. So you should be careful and watch for these several small things that could put you at disadvantage, or just simply you did a move that you've used a lot will put you in a worse state. So be careful.